2018 Tony Award winners have been announced, with the band's Visit taking home the majority of accolades. The musical, which tells the story of an Egyptian band that ends up stranded in the Israeli desert, took home 10 out of the 11 awards it was nominated for this year. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child picked up 6 awards during the night, including Best Play. Follow the Tony Awards 2018. Live blog actors Andrew Garfield and Nathan Lane both notably took home wins for their roles in Angels in America. Despite receiving 12 nominations, SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical only took home 1 prize, while Mean Girls didn't take home any awards. Bruce Springsteen received a special Tony Award for his hit show Springsteen on Broadway. The casts of Mean Girls and Summer, the Donna Summer musical, delivered memorable performances alongside students from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, who sang a survival anthem from Rent. Maharam Minks, presidential candidate of Turkey's main opposition Republican People's Party (CHP), delivers a speech from the roof of a bus during a campaign meeting in Istanbul. Former South African President Jacob Zuma sings and dances on stage after delivering a speech during a rally in his support outside the High Court, in Durban on June 8, 2018. Russian President Vladimir Putin listens to a question during his annual call-in show in Moscow. Putin hosts call-in shows every year, which typically provide a platform for ordinary Russians to appeal to the president on issues ranging from foreign policy to housing and utilities. Protesters wave flags and shout slogans during a demonstration against the use of the term Macedonia in any solution to a dispute between Athens and Skopje over the former Yugoslav republic's name, in the northern town of Pella, Greece. Police officers salute as the caskets of policewomen Soraya Belkacemi, 44, and Lucille Garcia, 54, arrived during their funeral in Liege. The 2 officers, and 1 bystander, were killed in Liege on Tuesday by a gunman. Police later killed the attacker, and other officers were wounded in the shooting. A rescue worker carries a child covered with ash after a volcano erupted violently in El Rodeo, Guatemala. Volcán de Fuego, whose name means volcano of fire, spewed an 8 kilometers, 5-mile, stream of red-hot lava and belched a thick plume of black smoke and ash that rained onto the capital and other regions. Dozens were killed across 3 villages. A recycler drags a huge bag of paper sorted for recycling past a heap of non-recyclable material at Richmond Sanitary landfill site in the industrial city of Bulawayo. Plastic waste remains a challenging waste management issue due to its non-biodegradable nature. If not managed properly, plastic ends up as litter, polluting waterways, wetlands and storm drains, causing flash flooding around Zimbabwe's cities and towns. Urban and rural areas are fighting the continuous battle against a scourge of plastic litter. On June 5, 2018, the United Nations marked the World Environment Day, which plastic pollution is the main theme this year. Palestinian mourners carry the body of 21-year-old medical volunteer Azan al-Najjar during her funeral after she was shot dead by Israeli soldiers near the Gaza border fence on June 1, in another day of protests and violence. She was shot near Khan Yunis in the south of the territory, Health Ministry spokesman Ashraf Al-Qura said, bringing the toll of Gazans killed by Israeli fire since the end of March to 123. Spain's new Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez poses after a vote on a no-confidence motion at the Spanish Parliament in Madrid. Spain's parliament ousted Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy in a no-confidence vote sparked by fury over his party's corruption woes, with his socialist arch-rival Pedro Sanchez automatically taking over. Zinedine Zidane looks on after a press conference to announce his resignation as manager from Real Madrid. He confirmed he was leaving the Spanish Giants, just days after winning the Champions League for the third year in a row. A worker cleans up the Millénaire migrants' makeshift camp along the Canal de Saint-Denis near Porte de la Villette, northern Paris, following its evacuation on May 30th. More than 1,000 migrants and refugees were evacuated early in the morning from the camp that had been set up for several weeks along the canal. Police and ambulances are seen at the site where a gunman shot dead 3 people, 2 of them policemen, before being killed by elite officers, in the eastern Belgian city of Liege. French President Emmanuel Macron meets with Mamadou Gassama, 22, from Mali, at the presidential Élysée Palace in Paris. Gassama, living illegally in France, is being honored by Macron for scaling an apartment building over the weekend to save a 4-year-old child dangling from the 5th-floor balcony. Migrants wait to disembark from the ship Aquarius in the Sicilian harbour of Catania, Italy. Island awaits the official result of a referendum that could end the country's ban on abortion. Co-director of Together for Yes Alva Smith speaks to the media after exit polls suggested victory for the Yes campaign. Film producer Harvey Weinstein arrives at the 1st Precinct in Manhattan, where he turned himself into New York police for sexual misconduct charges. Russian President Vladimir Putin, meets with his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron at the Constantine Palace in Strelna, outside St. Petersburg, on May 24, 2018. People protest out at the Tamil Nadu House after at least 10 people were killed when police fired on protesters seeking closure of plant on environmental grounds in town of Thoothukudi in southern state of Tamil Nadu, in New Delhi. People demonstrate in Paris during a nationwide day protest by French public sector employees and public servants against the overhauls proposed by French President Emmanuel Macron, calling them an attack by the centrist leader against civil services as well as their economic security. Newly appointed Catalan President Quim Torra arrives to visit jailed Catalan separatist politicians at the Extremera jail near Madrid. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro casts his vote during the presidential elections in Caracas. Maduro was seeking a second term in power. Channelized lava emerges on Kilauea volcano's lower Reef drift zone on Hawaii. The USGS said on its website that a fast-moving Pahoehoe lava flow that emerged from Fissure 20 continues to flow southeast, with the quickest of 3 lobes progressing at 230 yards, 210 meters, per hour. Santa Fe High School student Dakota Schrader is comforted by her mother Susan Davidson following a shooting at the school in Texas. Schrader said her friend was shot in the incident. Multiple people have been killed. French President Emmanuel Macron, British Prime Minister Theresa May and German Chancellor Angela Merkel meeting during the EU Western Balkans Summit in Sofia, Bulgaria. People hold flags with the state coat of arms of Russia as they drive along a bridge, which was constructed to connect the Russian mainland with the Crimean Peninsula across the Kerch Strait. Palestinians run away from tear gas shot at them by Israeli forces during a protest in Ramallah, in the occupied West Bank. A Palestinian demonstrator runs during a protest against the U.S. Embassy move to Jerusalem and ahead of the 70th anniversary of the Nakba at the Israel-Gaza border. A bullet hole on the window of a cafe in Paris, the day after a knifeman killed one man and wounded 4 other people before being shot dead by police. Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel looks on after receiving the Lamp of Peace, the Nobel Catholic Award for her work of conciliation for the peaceful cohabitation of peoples at the Basilica Superiore of St. Francis of Assisi in Italy. Police forensics investigate the death of 7 people in a suspected murder-suicide in Australia. 4 children are among 7 people that were found dead at a rural property in Osmington, near Margaret River. Detectives are investigating the incident, which was said to be treated as a murder-suicide, media reported. 2 firearms were found at the scene, Western Australia police said. Missiles rise into the sky as Israeli missiles hit air defense position and other military bases, in Damascus, Syria. The Israeli military on Thursday said it attacked dozens of Iranian targets in neighboring Syria in response to an Iranian rocket barrage on Israeli positions in the Golan Heights, in the most serious military confrontation between the 2 bitter enemies to date. Iranian MPs burning a US flag in the parliament in Tehran. Iran said it will hold talks with signatories to a nuclear deal after US President Donald Trump's decision to withdraw from the accord, which it branded psychological warfare. President Hassan Rouhani also said Iran could resume uranium enrichment without limit in response to Trump's announcement. Newly elected Prime Minister of Armenia Nikol Pashinyan addresses the crowd in Republic Square in Yerevan. The leader of protests that gripped Armenia for weeks was named the country's new prime minister on Tuesday, overcoming the immediate political turmoil but raising uncertainty about the longer term. Russian President Vladimir Putin walks before his president inauguration ceremony at the Kremlin in Moscow. Lava from a robust fissure eruption on Kilauea drift zone consumes a home, then threatens another, near Pahoa, Hawaii. The total number of homes lost within the Leilani Estates subdivision thus far is 21. And geologists from the Hawaii Volcanoes Observatory do not expect the eruption to cease anytime soon. A local state of emergency has been declared after Mount Kilauea erupted near residential areas, forcing mandatory evacuation of about 1,700 citizens from their nearby homes. The crater's floor collapsed on the 1st of May and is since then continuing to erode its walls and generating huge explosions of ashes. Several earthquakes have been recorded in the area where the volcanic eruptions continue, including a 6.9 magnitude earthquake which struck the area on the 4th of May. Russian police carrying struggling opposition leader Alexei Navalny at a demonstration against President Vladimir Putin in Moscow. Thousands of demonstrators denouncing Putin's upcoming inauguration into a 4th term gathered in the capital's Pushkin Square. Chinese President Xi Jinping speaks at an event to mark Karl Marx's 200th birthday at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. President Vladimir Putin meets with FIFA President Gianni Infantino in Sochi, ahead of the 2018 World Cup in Russia. Supporters of opposition lawmaker Nikol Pashinyan protest in Republic Square in Yerevan, Armenia. Pashinyan has urged his supporters to block roads, railway stations and airports after the governing Republican Party voted against his election as Prime Minister. Cubans march during the May Day rally at Revolution Square in Havana. The sky is the limit. A Saudi man and woman fly over the Arabian Sarawak Mountains in the first ever joint wingsuit flight in traditional dress. A symbolic leap of faith towards women's empowerment in Saudi Arabia. A general view for the damaged railway station in Al-Qadam neighborhood, after it was recaptured from Islamic State militants, in the south of Damascus. According to media reports, the Syrian army continued the military offensive it has launched earlier this month against militant groups entrenching in southern Damascus and captured several neighborhoods, including Al-Qadam and Al-Asali, and targeting the remnants of armed groups in Al-Hajar al-Aswad and its surrounding in Damascus' southern countryside. Comedian Michelle Wolf attends the celebration after the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Conservatives walked out after Wolf brutally ridiculed President Donald Trump and his aides during her piece. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and South Korean President Moon Jae-in raised their hands after signing on a joint statement. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, left, and South Korean President Moon Jae-in raised their hands after signing on a joint statement at the border village of Panmunjom in the demilitarized zone, South Korea. The Korean War will be formally declared over after 65 years, the North and South have said. At a historic summit between leaders Kim Jong-un and Moon Jae-in, the neighboring countries agreed they would work towards peace on the peninsula with a formal end to the conflict set to be announced later this year. The pair agreed to bring the two countries together and establish a peace zone on the contested border. Women hold portraits of their relatives, who are victims of the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, during a commemoration ceremony in Kiev, Ukraine. Rohingya refugees gather in the no-man's land behind Myanmar's border lined with barbed wire fences in Mundor district, Rakhine State bounded by Bangladesh. Myanmar government said on April 15, it repatriated on April 14 the first family of Rohingya out of some 700,000 refugees who have fled a brutal military campaign, a move slammed by a rights group as a PR stunt, ignoring UN warnings that a safe return is not yet possible. President Donald Trump, French President Emmanuel Macron, First Lady Melania Trump and Brigitte Macron hold hands on the White House balcony during a state arrival ceremony in Washington. A boy walks on a pile of garbage covering a drain in New Delhi. Newly ordained priests lie on the floor as Pope Francis leads a mass in St. Peter's Basilica at the Vatican. South Koreans cheer during the welcoming event for the Inter-Korean Summit between South Korea and North Korea in Seoul. The Inter-Korean Summit is scheduled on April 27, 2018 at the Joint Security Area in Panmunjom, agreed by South Korean President Moon Jae-in and North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un. A Palestinian slings a shot by burning tires on the Israel-Gaza border, following a demonstration calling for the right to return. Palestinian refugees either fled or were expelled from what is now the State of Israel during the 1948 war. This year's Tony Awards ceremony took place at Radio City Music Hall in New York City and was hosted by Sarah Bareilles and Josh Groban. See the full list of winners below. Best Play: The Children Farinelli and the King, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2, winner Junk Latin History for Morons. Best Musical: The Band's Visit, winner Frozen, Mean Girls, SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical. Best Revival of a Play: Angels in America, Winner Edward Albee's Three Tall Women. Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh. Lobby Hero Travesties Best Revival of a Musical. My Fair Lady Once on This Island. Winner Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel Best Book of a Musical. The Band's Visit. Winner Frozen. Mean Girls. SpongeBob SquarePants. The Musical Best Original Score, Music and All Lyrics, written for the theater. Angels in America. The Band's Visit. Winner Frozen. Mean Girls. SpongeBob SquarePants. The Musical Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Play. Andrew Garfield. Angels in America. Winner Tom Hollander. Travesties. Jamie Parker. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2. Mark Rylance, Farinelli and the King. Denzel Washington. Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh. Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Play. Glenda Jackson. Edward Albee's Three Tall Women. Winner Condola Richard, Saint Joan Lauren Ridloff. Children of a Lesser God. Amy Schumer. Meteor Shower. Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Musical. Harry Haddon Payton. My Fair Lady. Joshua Henry. Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel. Tony Shalhoub. The Band's Visit. Winner Ethan Slater. SpongeBob SquarePants. The Musical Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Musical. Lauren Ambrose. My Fair Lady. Hailey Kilgore. Once on This Island. La Chance. Summer, The Donna Summer Musical. Katrina Lenk. The Band's Visit. Winner Taylor Louderman. Mean Girls. Jessie Mueller. Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel. Best Performance by an Actor in a Featured Role in a Play. Anthony Boyle. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2. Michael Cera. Lobby Hero Brian Tyree Henry. Lobby Hero Nathan Lane. Angels in America. Winner David Morse. Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh. Best Performance by an Actress in a Featured Role in a Play. Susan Brown. Angels in America. Noma Dumpswiney. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2. Deborah Findlay. The Children. Denise Goff. Angels in America. Laurie Metcalf. Edward Albee's Three Tall Women. Winner Best Performance by an Actor in a Featured Role in a Musical. Norbert Leo Butts. My Fair Lady. Alexander Gemignani. Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel. Gray Henson. Mean Girls. Gavin Lee. SpongeBob SquarePants. The Musical. Ariel Stachel. The Band's Visit. Winner Best Performance by an Actress in a Featured Role in a Musical. Ariana DeBose. Summer, The Donna Summer Musical. Renee Fleming. Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel. Lindsay Mendez. Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel. Winner Ashley Park. Mean Girls. Diana Rigg. My Fair Lady. Best Scenic Design of a Play. Edward Albee's Three Tall Women. Farinelli and the King. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2. Winner Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh. Angels in America. Best Scenic Design of a Musical. Once on This Island. The Band's Visit. Mean Girls. My Fair Lady. Winner SpongeBob SquarePants. The Musical. Best Costume Design of a Play. Farinelli and the King. Angels in America. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2. Winner Edward Albee's Three Tall Women. Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh. Best Costume Design of a Musical. Mean Girls. Once on This Island. Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel. SpongeBob SquarePants. The Musical. My Fair Lady. Winner Best Lighting Design of a Play. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2. Winner Angels in America. Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh. Farinelli and the King. Junk. Best Lighting Design of a Musical. SpongeBob SquarePants. The Musical. Once on This Island. My Fair Lady. Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel. The Band's Visit. Winner Best Sound Design of a Play. Travesties. Angels in America. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2. Winner 1984. Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh. Best Sound Design of a Musical. The Band's Visit. Winner Once on This Island. Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel. Mean Girls. SpongeBob SquarePants. The Musical. Best Direction of a Play. Angels in America. Edward Albee's Three Tall Women. Travesties. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2. Winner Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh. Best Direction of a Musical. Once on This Island the band's visit, winner SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical Mean Girls My Fair Lady Best Choreography, My Fair Lady SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2 Mean Girls Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel, winner Best Orchestrations, Mean Girls SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical Once on This Island the band's visit, winner Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel. Recipients of awards and honors in non-competitive categories: Special Tony Awards for Lifetime Achievement in the Theatre, Cheetah Rivera Andrew Lloyd Webber. Special Tony Awards: John Leguizamo Bruce Springsteen Regional Theatre Tony Award, La Mama etc. New York City Isabel Stevenson Tony Award, Nick Scandalio's Tony Honors for Excellence in the Theatre, Sarah Krulwich Bessie Nelson Ernest Windsor Cleaners.